Chapter 5 Melita and the Journey to the Holy City. On his way to Melita's room after the kitchen had closed, Garrick's mind was racing. However, if there was one person at the crossroads that could help him forget for the night, it was her. The elven blonde barmaid was everything he was not. Brash, impulsive, unlike her race in many ways. And of course, she was as seductive and alluring as any female he'd ever known. But she was more than that. Melita could hold her own verbally with anyone who came into the inn, and probably with any of the mercenaries he'd worked with for that matter. Yet in their quiet times together, she was sweet and caring. "Come in," said Melita in a tired voice after Garrick knocked on the door. When the mercenary walked in, the elven beauty hugged him tightly. "You sound exhausted," replied Garrick. Then he smiled. "Maybe I should go back to my room." "I am tired, but I am never too tired to see you, Garrick," assured Melita, with a stiff kiss on the mercenary's lips. "I was so happy to see you today. This might be the longest I have been without you." Then the barmaid's voice became stern. "Do not let that happen again." When Garrick smiled, Melita laughed as the mercenary stroked her long hair, starting at her pointed right ear. Then as she opened her mouth to continue the coy charade, Garrick kissed her neck, silencing the elven beauty. When he kissed her neck again, she closed her eyes. "Is this for us?" asked Garrick, noticing 2 glasses and a large bottle of Oberlin cider on the table in the middle of the room. "Compliments of the owners of the establishment," winked Melita as she led Garrick over to the table. "You know Pops and Mamu think of us as family." Then the elven barmaid smiled. "Of course, they do not think of us as siblings." After Garrick pulled the chair out for Melita, he walked to his seat and grabbed the bottle. When he poured them both a glass of cider, he took a sip. A second later, Melita did the same, savoring the apple flavor. Then she looked at the mercenary, her face changing, remembering their meeting earlier that day. "Where did you Pops and Mamu run off to anyway? What is going on?" asked Melita, patting Garrick's hand. Having to go over the story again, after having just spoken to Pops and Mamu, and knowing that Melita might scoff at his good deed, or maybe even what was on the scroll, Garrick decided to shorten the tale. "I am taking a scroll to the holy city for a brethren I came across on the way here. He was waylaid by bandits, and though I took care of them, the old man was already too far gone. It was his dying wish that I deliver it. I wanted Pops and Mamu to look at it before I left in the morning," answered Garrick. "That honor is just another reason I am drawn to you, Garrick Landau," smiled Melita as she leaned forward. Then her demeanor changed slightly. "I thought it was my rugged good looks," replied Garrick, returning the smile. But it slowly faded as he looked at the elven beauty's face. "I need to talk to you," announced Melita, her voice taking a subtle, more serious tone. "I would not bring it up tonight if you were not leaving tomorrow." Seeing the beautiful barmaid searching for her next words, Garrick became a little concerned. The look on her face was something he had not ever seen. "Pops and Mamu are getting older," began Melita. "They say they will not sell the Sleepy Kettle and Yard any time soon, but I have worked here for many years. I can see that time is not far off. Or if they do not sell it, they will have to have more help to run it." After pausing for a moment, Melita continued. "This place gets more popular each year. I know you like to travel. I know you like your mercenary life." "What are you asking me, Melita?" asked Garrick, his face becoming serious as he could see where her words were going. "I want you to give up being a mercenary and stay here with me," spoke Melita softly. Then she placed her hand firmly on Garrick's. "And help run this place. At least until—" Garrick gave a short laugh as his mind immediately went back to Shepherd's Bend. Then he stood up. "Look, I care for you, and I know you care for me," continued Melita. "Our current relationship has been fun, and I do not regret it." This is not an ultimatum. Just think about it. Then she squeezed the mercenary's hand. Please. Though Garrick was somewhat perturbed, it was more the surprise of the whole situation that bothered him. Then he picked up his glass and took one last drink. Garrick, you do not have to go now. Our night has only just begun, pleaded Melita. And you are leaving in the morning. We usually see each other much more than that when you are here. When Garrick looked down at the elven beauty and into her deep blue eyes, he saw not only that she wanted him to stay right then, but she had been thinking about him staying with her for good, and for a while now. After taking a deep breath, Garrick gently pulled Melita up from her chair. Then he kissed her deeply. When he gently pushed away, the barmaid moved in for another kiss, but the mercenary stopped her. Then he ran a finger over her left pointed ear as he looked deeply into her eyes again. If I do stay longer, I think you could make me say yes, began the mercenary with a smile. But this is something I must be clear-headed about. Melita smiled back and watched Garrick walk to the door. And though it wasn't the answer she had wanted to hear after he had walked into her room, what he did say still gave her hope. I need some time, Melita. I will tell you my answer after I deliver the scroll, assured the mercenary. Then he walked back to his room.